guys, it's me, Dr. Torie. My book is officially out. And yes, it is time to talk about ACEs. You guys can find the books everywhere. However, I would encourage you guys to go to my website, Be VicTORIEus.com, and place your order today. Yes, it's time to talk about ACEs. Let's go, y'all.
Hello, you guys. Welcome to another episode of Be Victorious. Listen, this is a dream come true for me. This is the reason why I advocate for ACEs so much. I want to go on and on. You guys have known me talk so highly of this individual. To have him sitting and I want to introduce him so bad. I really don't think he needs an introduction because if it wasn't for him, we would not be studying ACEs right now. Dr. Alman, where are you?
I am in San Diego. Can you
And
see
you're
me?
supposed to come and see me.
I am here right now, Dr.
There
Torie.
he goes. You all know
Hi.
about this 10 question survey. You all know what it is.
Right.
And this is the man that got a whole bunch of people together. Now, understand, you guys, Dr. Vincent Felitti and Dr. Robert Anda are the ones that kind of pioneered it. But this man here, that's the reason why we're here. Hey, Dr. Ahmed.
Thank you, Dr. Torie. Well, we have chatted before, and we both know we come into helping people with ACEs with a real purpose, with passion and perseverance. We will do this no matter what. Whoever tries to stop us or get in our way, we will keep going forward. And that's been the spirit of the partnership I have with Dr. Folletti since the beginning, since we were figuring out the 10 most common questions. And then he brought me in really to help a little bit with the questions, but really to help with the treatment solutions because I was
Right.
seeing his most difficult patients and
Mhm.
getting a lot of success. Turns out this is before ACEs were called ACEs. They all had ACEs.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how many years would you say you've been doing this? Let's just start from the beginning. Let's hear
Yeah.
the story.
Yeah.
First
Well,
off, do you have ACEs?
yes. Dr. Folletti and I, and everybody knows Vincent Folletti. He's the medical doctor. I'm the PhD. We bridged medicine, psychology, what we call biopsychosocial healing. And we started this in the 80s,
Mhm.
late 80s. We were doing this work already. And we've spoken about our own ACEs. In
Right.
fact, we both recently talked with the Surgeon General in a meeting, and she was asking the questions like, how did this all start? Where did it come from? Why did you do this? All that. And we both agreed we had our own ACEs.
Right.
And so we had an extra big motivation to help other people help themselves with what we've learned from, started off with hundreds, then thousands, then tens of thousands, then hundreds of thousands, now millions of people that have really helped us get better at what we do.
Right.
Yeah.
Now tell us more about what you do.
Well, Dr. Folletti had a department called preventive medicine at Kaiser Permanente in San Diego.
Mhm.
And like all healthcare organizations, 20% of the patients were using 80% of the services. In other words, what they were calling back then high utilizers, people that had to keep going back to the doctor, keep going back to different doctors, different specialists. And it just didn't make sense why these people would have to go to the doctor so much and they had so many different problems. What's at the root of this? What's causing this? And then we were running a weight loss program together at Kaiser, and I was doing the treatment solutions, and he was doing the presentations, working on questions and conversations and groups. And why would people try so hard and let go of 100, 150, 200, 250 pounds and then gain it all back? Why? You work so hard. It took you years, a year and a half, 2, 3 years to get this weight off. You had to do everything. And then you gain the weight back faster than we could believe it. So why do people need the doctor so much? Why do people lose all that weight, gain it all back? Why are people struggling with this autoimmune illness, this cancer, this cardiovascular, these addictions, the depression, the anxiety? What's going on? So, of course, the old approach is you just talk to the patients, you write a prescription and follow up and hope they do better. Okay,
Right.
well, that wasn't working. That's the old biomedical approach.
Right.
So we started sending these people to me, and I would see them in groups, but primarily I would see these people individually for 2 hours, maybe 3 hours, maybe six, maybe eight, not a lot. And they got a lot better. And he was just amazed that people would get that much better that quickly. So a few patients turned into dozens of patients, turned into hundreds of patients, turned into him asking me if I would be the director and founder of the ACE treatment solution program at Kaiser, with him with ACEs, teaching around the world, training doctors, therapists, teachers, parents, everybody that was interested in being trained. And so that's really how it all started. We both had our own ACEs, so we had our own personal motivations to help ourselves and help other people. And then being the practitioners, the clinicians, the people that are supposed to be helping these people, it's like, well, what don't we know?
Right.
Why isn't this working? What's going on with these people? So, of course, the ACE questions themselves, like Dr. Torie, very well, that we started to ask people their story. What your podcast is all about. What's your story? What happened to you? What's going on in your body? What's going on emotionally? What's going on mentally? And one of the most important questions he and I discovered, thanks to all of these people who were coming in for our help, is at what age did you first start to gain weight? At what age did you first start smoking? At what age did you first start drinking? At what age did you first start doing drugs? Why then? Why not 2 years earlier, 5 years later?
Right.
What was happening in your life at the time? And how has that unresolved trauma,
Right.
that unresolved adverse childhood experience impacted you years and decades later? And then we listened, and we listened with acceptance. And this is a super important point, Dr. Torie. What we learned was we had to do better than that. We had to listen with unconditional acceptance. And the people were so amazed that we wanted to see them again after they told us their deepest, darkest secrets. And we were fascinated. We were curious. We wanted to help them. We wanted to help them help themselves after they got to the root cause, the ACE, or the adverse adult experience, because we added another assessment for adults, because not all traumas happen between birth and 18. But what is it going to take to help this person heal, resolve, and not only get to the root cause and resolve that, but how to integrate their self-healing and their self-care into their everyday life? Because we're following everybody up 10, 20, 30 years later. So we know who stays better. And if they are struggling, we ask them to come in, we meet with them. We still meet every week after all these decades, as we're still coming up. We just finished a new book, From Trauma to Enlightenment. And so we're always creative and always wanting to help people. And we're still learning. We're students and teachers.
Yeah. And this is what I let people know. It's a transition. It's transformational, because you got to think about it. In 1998, was what was discovered was such an amazing idea. I let people know. I think in regards to my book, I have a book, of course, as you know, it's called It's Time to Talk About ACEs.
Yes.
I think the difference is in 1998, when it was discovered, it came out of a medical book.
Right.
And our community, I'm saying the African American community, the Black, Indigenous people of color community, didn't have access to that type of thing. They weren't interested in this type of thing back in 1998. It was new.
Yeah.
Who knew?
Right.
But when I go to different presentations, I always bring my dissertation because people want to know how I became Dr. Williams. And I have to let them know it was from this book. People don't know that It's Time to Talk About ACEs is actually a real life study that I did at a school.
Right.
And it's like, wow, this is what happened for real? Well, how did you do this? I just told my story. And that's what makes it so powerful. So that's the reason why we're going to celebrate this 30. We have no other choice because it's an eye opener for a community that really needs it.
Right.
To understand ACEs seriously, we have to get to the root of the situation. And we have you guys to thank for that. Like, it is out here, you guys. It's been out here for the longest. And then to find out, like how you said, I actually thought Dr. Fellini was going to be here, but it's okay. We're going to get him because this is history in the making already. Just to connect what happened then to now and make it make sense in 2025, I'm watching it change people's lives as we speak. I'm here for a conference, and the conference is called It's All About ACEs.
Wow.
So you have to understand how powerful your information is out here for a community that really needs it. And here it is. I'm walking in and they're like, oh, Dr. Torie. And I'm like, but it's hard to tell my story without sharing the experiences that made me who I am. We don't have to live off those experiences. We can build. And that's why community is so important. And that's why it's so important that you're here with me right now. It's called bridging the gap. It's called letting people know that we can still do this.
Right.
If we bring awareness to what has already been out here for years.
Right. And people want to share their stories because we heard from thousands of people. They would stop us in the hallway and say, I didn't think anybody would ever ask me those questions. I thought I was going to take it to the grave. And you could just see in their face the relief from being asked the questions. And we did a study. Actually, it wasn't us. It was a professor at UCSD, University of California at San Diego, because he had heard about our assessment. He'd heard about my treatment solutions, many of which I developed with Dr. Felitti and with all of these different people. And he wondered really how helpful is it? So he asked Kaiser Permanente, which is the world's largest nonprofit healthcare provider, if he could access the records of the patients that we were seeing at Kaiser. And they said yes. So he got access, and they keep very good records of every visit for every reason, no matter what. They're amazing. So what he found was that in 1 year's time, that people that answered the assessment questions and then learned a technique that actually was a combination of a number of techniques, but one technique in particular, that there was a 35% reduction in medical visits that year, an 11% reduction in emergency room visits that year, and it saved Kaiser Permanente $2 billion in 1 year from exactly what you're bringing up, exactly what you write about in your book, exactly what you're living, sharing, encouraging people to do the work. We know it's much easier to do the healing than it is to not do the healing.
Right.
Because when we don't do it, it's just manifesting all kinds of trouble in our bodies, our cardiovascular system, our immune system, because it takes a lot of energy and it takes a lot of body, mind, emotion, spirit to keep these things stuffed down and repressed. And it's not that people want to repress it. It's that's what they learned as kids, because Dr. Felitti and I have learned that people are brought up in all communities with the same handshake agreement. Nice people don't talk about difficult things.
Right.
So what do? You hold it in, you stuff it down. Where does it go? It goes into the body, it goes into the mind, it goes into the emotions. And then years and decades later, I mean, we've seen people that have had ACEs and had traumas when they were single digits, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years old. And we've actually worked with them when they were in their 60s, 70s, and 80s.
Mm-hmm.
And they've had a lot of medical problems, a lot of psychological problems, a lot of emotional manifestations, but they start getting better right away when they learn the techniques that are individualized to fit them, their community, their religion,
Right.
their kind of family, single parent, both parents, grandparents. When the techniques are individualized to fit who you are and your story,
Right.
it's startling
Yeah.
how fast people can improve.
Mm-hmm. Quick.
Yes,
Just understand it. So
right.
what's something that you wish people understood more about it that isn't talked enough?
That learning the solutions, both to get to the root cause and to integrate the techniques into your daily life, is actually joyful.
Yes.
It's actually inspiring. You're in a good mood. No, you don't feel worse before you feel better.
Right.
No, you don't just stir the soup of the traumas and feel worse and worse. You start to feel like you're getting thorns out. Oh my
Yes.
God. I feel lighter emotionally. I feel lighter mentally. I feel lighter physically. And you know what? I've actually been losing weight. And I'm actually not needing as much of the antidepressants. The doctor thinks I might come off of them. And
Right.
you know what? My diabetes type 2 is actually going away. So I'm having all of these benefits, and people are feeling great. So
Right.
people don't know that. They think, oh, I don't want to deal with that. Keep it in the closet, keep it buried. No one can help me. It'll take forever. No, no, no. And then they start getting help, and wow, they're amazed at their own inner resources.
Right.
Yeah.
And here you are, you've been doing this for so long. You
Yes.
have to tell us your motivation behind it. Like, tell us, like, what was your childhood like that made you want to be so passionate about this for all these years?
Well, probably you and a lot of your viewers. Uh, I love people. I love people. I love helping people help themselves. I've been like that when I was a little kid,
Mhm.
7, 8, 9 years old. I was the Pied Piper of the neighborhood with the kids. They all loved to follow me around and ride their bikes with me and go explore with me. And I loved the kids and being around them. So I always had that role of being a support person. I was raised by a very supportive mother
Mhm.
who was the matriarch of her family.
Wow.
Her ace was that when she was 14 in eighth grade, her mother died of breast cancer.
Oh, wow.
And she had a 1 year old and a 2.5 year old. And that was my mother's baby brother and sister. And when
Wow.
my mother's mother died, my mother left school in the eighth grade at 14 and
Wow.
raised her baby sister and brother as her own kids. And then me and my sister came along 12 years later. And so I always thought I was in a family of four, two sisters, brother, two boys, two girls. There's my sister, brother. And I was in the fourth grade, one of the neighborhood kids, kind of a bully, wise guy kid, kind of a, like his dad. I'll just say that. He said to me, your brother's not your brother and your sister's not your sister. And I go, what? He goes, yeah, that's your aunt and uncle. I go, what? So I went home. I said to my mother, is that true?
Right.
Robbie just said that was true. Is that true? And she said, it's true. And here's the story.
Mm.
And I was touched. I was glad to hear the truth. I went back out and played and never thought of it ever again. And that's my brother and sister. And that was that.
Mm.
So my mother turned her aces into resources. Great parent, great with us, great with them, great with the rest of the family. All the family, when they had trouble with the kids, they bring them to our house. Unfortunately, we had lots of cousins staying at our house because my mother was willing to let everybody stay. And I'd say, do they have to stay here again? You're
Right.
just here for a month. They're coming back again. Yeah, they're having trouble with their mom or their
There's
dad.
that household dysfunction.
Okay. So I grew up like that.
Yeah.
Kind of a communal family, help everybody that needs help.
Right.
And my mother would say to me, uh, when you need a helping hand, look at the end of your wrist.
Hmm.
Learn how to help yourself. We're
Right.
here. We're the family. We're a community. We're here. You also have to know how to help yourself. So
Mhm.
those were the kind of lessons I got. So no wonder I went into the field I went into. My other ace, besides my father, was never around in that working or not working, whatever he was doing, he was never around. So like Dr. Folletti, we were really neglected by
Yep.
the male, by the father. Had the moms around, but didn't have a father role model. So we found other coaches, teachers, we found other people. We didn't have that. So that was an ace for both of us.
Right.
I was born missing part of my back, part of L4 and L5. So I had a lot of chronic pain as a kid.
Really?
So I had another physical challenges are aces.
And
Okay.
I will tell you,
Yeah.
I need to introduce you to
Yeah.
Dr. Gina Calderon. She's in San Diego with you.
Oh,
She puts physical therapy and ACEs together. And when I tell you she does a great job.
exactly.
She is
Yeah.
amazing. I will introduce you guys.
Right.
She talks about it to the T, and she's that
Beautiful.
point of proof for me that physical therapists and ACEs are connected. Absolutely.
It's true. It's interesting you use that as an example also, because when I was first doing my work, I said to Dr. Folletti, we need to train everybody.
Yep.
We need to train teachers, ambulance drivers, nurses, doctors,
Yeah,
therapists,
everybody.
grandparents, we need to train everybody. And he said, that's not going to go over very good because, legally and malpractice and all that. And so I did some presentations and to different professional organizations, and I shared exactly what I'm saying to you. And people were like, oh, no, you don't want to train. No, you don't want to do that. And I said, oh, yes, I
Yes.
want to help everybody from bus drivers to ambulance drivers to teachers assistants to nurses, anybody that's working with people that may be traumatized, going through a trauma or have an old trauma. I want them to know how they can assess it and how they can help people. And one of those organizations never invited me back because I wasn't following the rules of only training the people they thought should be trained. But I was coming from the place, no, everybody that can be helpful, I'm going to train them. I decided to, so I took some risks, and it wasn't very popular, but hey, ACEs weren't popular for a long time. And there's still a lot of people in our professions that aren't crazy about dealing with ACEs. The medical doctors will say, oh, I don't want to deal with that. That was 20, 30 years ago. What do you expect me to do about that? If I wanted to be a goddamn shrink, I would have been a goddamn shrink. We get those kinds of comments,
And I believe you, but
Yeah.
for me, and I will share, I think what's working is just bringing awareness to it because I don't want to be a therapist. I do not. That is not my job. My job as the educator is to bring the information back to the forefront and say, hey, this is what happened. These are your lived experiences, but let's do something about it because if you don't, you're going to end up like us on the CDC with the things that are already on there, like diabetes.
Yeah,
That's the reason why we need to have the conversation.
and it's interesting you would say that too, because I really go beyond the boundaries to help everybody that needs help. And what you just said, Dr. Torie, is interesting because in some ways, education is therapy.
Yeah.
You're educating people. We are educating people, and it's very therapeutic.
Mhm.
It makes a
Working.
big difference to them. So again, the lines are kind of blurred, and you want to help people as much as you can.
Mhm.
Every opportunity, like people that I know, even in my own community, and in San Diego, it's a little bit like where I was raised. in Massachusetts. It's where I live and where I grew up. It's a very mixed area. There's people of many different backgrounds, financially different, family history, ethnic different. There's a lot of difference. It's kind of a melting pot kind of place. And people will come to me and say, I know what you do, and I'm having a lot of trouble with my daughter or my son or my wife or my parent, whatever it is. Do you think you could give me some advice? Yes, I'd be happy to give you some advice. You don't need to be a patient. You don't need to be a client. You don't have to pay me. You don't have to sit in my office. We can take a walk. We can have a chat. Let me know what's going on, and I will do my best to figure out how I can help you, which may be, like you're saying, recommending certain resources. There's a lot of resources around, but to figure out how I can help them, their family. So I don't go, oh no, that's a boundary. You're a neighbor. I can't help my neighbors. No, no, no. You need help. You're asking for help. The answer is yes.
Yes.
That's the answer. It's yes. Okay. And then move forward from there. So it's, in a lot of ways, it's being respectful of people and, enjoying people and really wanting, look, mental health, emotional health, physical, that's a right. That's not like something that you have to pay for or something. Everyone has a right to good mental health.
Yes.
There's a right to good physical health. There's a right to good emotional health, family health, community health. These are rights. And we have to support each other to make sure we all have those rights.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. You're so powerful. And I think that's the reason why it's 2025 and we have some new things added, those other adversities. Now there's so many people like, let's address these, or let's find out about the other childhood trauma that we don't talk about. And these are the conversations that need to be had.
You said something very surprising when we first met. I said to you, we realized when we were getting people to go to zero, and I don't have any of those traumas. Why do I have an autoimmune illness? Why am I addicted? Why am I overweight? I didn't have any of those 10 traumas. That's impossible. I don't have any ACEs. So we figured out we better ask them an 11th question, which is there any trauma, difficulty, or stress you've been through that we didn't ask you in those first 10 questions? Because those were simply the 10 most common. We started off with a list of 40. We just ended up with the 10 most common. And you said to me, you've been working on the exact same thing at the same time. And I thought that was so classic that, we got to the same place. So it took us probably 25 years. It probably took you 5 years. Well, hell, you're smarter than us. What can we say? But we got to the same place.
Yes. I just love the fact that now people are more aware, because being out here, it's like, well, because they don't see it in black and white, they don't consider it an adverse childhood experience.
Right.
But it is.
Yeah.
So let me share you, when you share this religious trauma that you're going through, that is childhood trauma.
Right.
That is the child abuse that they're talking about, the child neglect that they're talking about. It's there. You just have to put it in terms. So that's the reason why I always tell people about the umbrella. It looks so weird, but when you think about it, these are the 4.
Yeah.
And it fits under the category. So you have to be the person to place it in that category to identify what you. And I think that's what works for me, because people are like, that makes sense. Okay, I get it.
Yeah.
So the abortion, yes, let's talk about what happened, bring that awareness, and then you take the next steps. And not to say it like that. Again, my job is to bring awareness so you can understand what they did back in 1998 is so beneficial in 2025.
Yeah, and that abortion is like the loss of a child, and there's unbelievably effective treatment solutions for both of those. And a lot of people maybe more now, but we come from a country, and we've taught in 50 different countries, but we live in a country where there are the haves and the have-nots. And if you grew up like I grew up, where we had very serious and difficult financial trouble, like no money. I've been working since I was 8 years old.
Right.
If I wasn't, delivering newspapers, shoveling snow, mowing leaves, doing anything I could do, there was no money for anything. So I had to take on a lot. And of course, I felt bad for my mother and felt bad for my family. So I had an extra sense of responsibility and, loyalty. But a financial stress, you think about it every day. You go to bed feeling pain about it at night because it's going to be another difficult day without the money, without being able to pay the bills, and the bills are going to come in and it's going to be hard. And what are we going to do? How are we going to do this? And it goes on and on. And that's traumatic.
It is.
And people that never have financial trouble have no idea how
Right.
traumatic that is. It's like being sexually abused. If you weren't sexually abused, you have no idea how traumatic that is. Same with emotional abuse. We see a lot of judgmental, critical, ACE causing parents. You don't even know what that's like if you didn't have that in your experience. But if you did, oh, the pain, the trauma, it's debilitating. It's like being run over by a truck every day. That's how painful and how bad it feels, and you're helpless.
Right.
I'm a kid. What can I do about this? Nothing I can do. Oh God, I want to do something. And that's really tough for kids growing up. It was very tough for me. And I know it's tough for a lot of the people listening, because a lot of us have been through things that would be the answer to that 11th question of, did you ever go through a stress or trauma or difficult time in your life, that we didn't ask you in
Right.
those first 10 questions. Yeah.
And that's the reason why I start with that one now.
Yeah.
So I've kind of stepped back a little bit on that, because I think that gets them to understanding the rest of the 10 questions. So I start with that one now, because once we start having that conversation, share your story, then the questions come up. Oh, so could you answer these questions? Yeah. And then they look at the questions, and then now it makes a little bit more sense, because we're protective just being who we are. Nobody wants to admit the things that happen, especially the things that happen in their household, because us being raised up, we were told to keep these things within the household. But now that we know that these same things are in our body,
Yeah.
it's the stress that we've held for all of these years and not getting the root of the trauma together. That's why we work. That's the reason why we're here.
Right.
So if there was one thing that you could say to someone just starting their healing journey, what would it be? Good question.
After you answer the 12 questions in the ACE assessment, answer the 12 questions in the positive childhood experiences assessment.
Okay.
Then go answer the 12 questions in the adverse adult experiences assessment, because not all traumas, like we've agreed, happen between birth and 18. And then answer the 12 positive adult. Answer the assessments. Get a sense of what you feel inside might work, because I've been amazed at how intuitive people are when they open up to who they are.
Wow.
Positive, negative, adverse, all of that. When people open up their heart, open up their life story to us, I'm amazed how their intuition was like under there the whole time. It's like the gold was under the lead.
Yeah.
And as you get the lead out and tell the stories and the adversities, the gold is there. And people are very intuitive. So I say to people, your inner mind, your unconscious, your intuition, your spirituality is even smarter than you are.
Right.
And we want to help you connect with that. And the only way you're really going to be able to connect with your true, authentic self is to start to release, express, and let go of, whether you think of it as trauma or drama. I hear all kinds, just upset times, worry times, difficult times. Those are just synonyms. Call it whatever you want to call it. It's your life that you are healing.
Yes.
Might be your parents' life, because we take on our parents' traumas. And this whole intergenerational, we take on our great grandparents, our grandparents. We carry the traumas of our family. And as you very wisely point out, Dr. Torie, we even carry the traumas of our community because it
Yes.
affects us.
Yes.
It makes us feel bad. It makes us feel, oh, what can I do? I'm just one person. Well, that's my point to, answer your question. Each individual
Yep.
can do a lot to help themselves and help other people. The biggest mistake people make is they underestimate themselves. Every one of us are healers,
Yes.
right? Heal ourselves, help heal other people, help them heal themselves, however you think about it. But we all have to be proactive. We all have to do something. And you and I, we're unstoppable. We do it every day.
You are a part of this Be Victorious
Right.
community. Okay, you
Yeah.
guys?
And I love what you're doing. And I had everybody on my team get your book, and they love your book. So you have a fan club of people that really appreciate the work that you're doing.
Thank you.
So when you asked me to come on, I said yes right away. I told Dr. Folletti that I was coming on. He knows that we're together right now. And so so you're getting a lot of encouragement from us to keep doing everything you're doing.
Thank you.
And I don't want to say do more because I know you're doing so much.
I have
But I
to
don't need to
slow
say
down
that
just a
because you're going
little
to
bit.
do more anyway.
Well, this is the thing.
Yeah.
I'm really community based. I have to be
Yeah.
because I believe in what you all did.
Yeah.
And I want to continue to support. But if we're going to do it the way that I would like to do it, it would be the education because the education is key for me. So that awareness plus the community is the empowerment that we are going to need in order to heal. So that's the reason why I keep bringing powerhouses.
Mhm.
Diana was an angel. It's still an angel to me
Right.
because she was there.
Right.
You Oh my God,
Yeah.
you were there. So you have to understand how it's a full circle moment for me because in my community, again, it's hard for me to share my story if people don't understand ACEs. I'm a doctor. Okay, everybody's like, oh, doctor, okay, yay. But you don't know what it took for me to get here. And in order to do that, I have to share my story because going and saying she was a first generation high school graduate. When you think about that, yeah, it's a big deal, but you don't know what it took for me to get from there to here.
Mhm.
That's the power in sharing your story.
Right.
Storytelling is therapy for some people,
It
especially
is.
when they don't know it. So
It is.
that's my job to bring in people. And that's the reason why this podcast is so special
Yes.
because this cycle breaker series,
Right.
the people that we have,
Right.
they've been amazing. I started with me on episode I Can Do This, and here me and my producer still to this day. He's making movies. I'm out here educating. We are doing this together. We're out here servicing a community that needs this so bad.
Mhm.
And for that, I will tell you again and again and again and again and again, please spread the message to everybody else as I do with you all the time. Thank you.
Yep, we
Thank
will. Yep, we will. I recommend your book. I
thank
want to mention something too, because Dr. Folletti and I just finished book number 15,
Yes.
From Trauma to Enlightenment.
Yes.
And the reason we called it that is that in teaching in a foreign country, we learned that the definition of enlightenment is unconditional self acceptance.
Mm.
It's not sitting on a mountaintop in Bali, India, Bangladesh. It's not doing the yoga meditation. It's unconditional acceptance of yourself. Now, here's the thing that's so relevant to ACEs and us is that means unconditional acceptance of your ACE experience,
Wow.
unconditional acceptance of the 7-year-old you that was traumatized, unconditional acceptance of the 13-year-old you that was rebelling and trying to figure out a way out, the fast way, the shortcut. All of those ages and stages, unconditional acceptance of all of our ACE experiences, and a lot of us have a lot more than one, and then unconditional acceptance of what we did to try to solve the problems that actually cause more problems while we're trying to solve them. That's very common.
Yes.
So that from trauma to enlightenment is a very important title to us because it means more than the typical, oh, enlightenment, oh, that, yeah, I've heard about that. Yeah, oh, that's for certain people from certain parts of the world. No. Unconditional self-acceptance is a journey. Nobody actually gets there and okay, now I'm there. Now I'm unconditionally. No. It's a journey. And a lot of time it's like a tightrope walk where, okay, I'm feeling it today. I'm feeling good. Oh, I'm losing it. I'm not feeling so good about myself. I'm feeling kind of judgmental. Oh, I feel a bit more balanced now. So those self-care skills on a daily basis, it's part of the movement, part of the forward progress, part of the balance that we develop, because we don't get to a point where, okay, now everything's perfect. Well, no, that doesn't ever happen. And we'll say to people, no, your situation isn't perfect, but you're perfectly okay. And we try to give people as much of that acceptance, that unconditional acceptance as we can. So they go, oh, wow, it feels so good when somebody's so accepting of me and reassuring of me. I wonder what it'd be like if I could do this for myself.
Yes.
You're getting there. That's awesome. I'm glad you brought that up. And then, we're on our way.
We are a powerhouse. Just wait. They just don't know. There's so much in the pipeline, you guys. You have to understand. So I want to say for this episode, of course, it is the one, but we have to continue to have conversations like this. So before we end, I want people to know where they can find you so we can go ahead and continue having these conversations because you guys have to understand. We have a community. It's not just me. You have Dr. Alman. He is out here. What he's saying is, listen, you guys, I want to help. I want to come here and have this conversation because I would have never in my right mind think I would be in this position right now talking to the people that helped me become who I am today. And that is my guide to honest truth. So where can they find you, Dr. Alman?
Well, I love what you're saying, Dr. Torie, because you are 100% right. When people reach out, we always get back to them. Okay, so we are real. We have our own ACEs. We've had our own challenges. We have our own families. We have our own communities. So we will get back to you. I create a new post with videos every day on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, anywhere you go, YouTube. I'm creating new techniques, new videos, new information every day. So people can just go to YouTube, go to LinkedIn, go to Instagram, go to Facebook, go to TikTok, wherever you go, and connect with me there. Obviously, if you go to Amazon, you'll see lots of the books.
Yes.
If you Google me, you'll get hundreds of pages, and it'll be all about Dr. Fleddy and I, because he's my partner. So reach out, make the connection, mention Dr. Torie. I'll send you a technique. I'll send you a deep dive into how we heal ACEs, and I'll send you an actual audio or video, whatever you prefer, free, just because Dr. Torie introduced us. So you mentioned Dr. Torie's video, and I will send you a wonderful technique that we developed in the ACE study. And it's a visualization. So you're visualizing using guided imagery, using all of your senses, your intuition, your creativity, very upbeat, very beautiful. And I'm going to send that to everybody that mentions Dr. Torie when you get back to me.
You got to tell them that you're one of our newest ACEs ambassadors. This is really a campaign, you guys. It's only $1 a day. We have to get this information out here everywhere. Right. And we have tools like this that we're giving out for free right now. But in order to do what we're doing, we have to continue to have the conversation.
We have to do this together.
Yes.
We have to do this together, please.
Let's go.
Yeah.
This has what we're doing. Watch out for us. We have more things coming. I thank you so much, Dr. Alman, for just taking time out to be who, not again, I can say this over and over. You guys have to continue to stay tuned because we have so many things in store for you. The Cycle Breaker episode, I'm telling you, you guys, the series has been so amazing. And I have to thank you again for being here. So thank you again so much. You guys make sure you come and follow everywhere what we are doing and understand that it's going to take a community for us to do what we need to do. So again, you guys, another wonderful episode of Be Victorious. You know who I am. You know how to find me. I am everywhere. And we will see you guys soon. Take care of you guys. Bye-bye for now.